through the living room, the dining room. So now we're going to go into the entertainment room. And this one is pretty self-explanatory, so we won't camp out here long. But think about, I think, being in college, I've learned a lot. And something I've learned is when you go to college, your parents aren't around. You go to class, you come home, you study for like hours and hours, and then you watch TV and usually fall asleep. But you spend a lot of time by yourself. You spend a lot of time, my roommates all work, so they're all out of the house most of the day, or I'm in the library alone or whatever. And what I've realized is that my truest form, who I really am, is who I am when I'm alone, which I don't know for some of you, but for me it was a really, really scary thing to think about, because I don't know if I like who I am alone. There's no one there to call me higher or to watch what I'm doing. And some of you guys are seniors, you're about to graduate, and you're about to spend really your first couple of years alone, without your parents, without your brothers and sisters, maybe without your friends, maybe you're moving off to another college, and you're about to really find out who you are when you're by yourself and how that's really who you are. So I think your entertainment room is a really important room, because we can easily trick ourselves and be like, man, it's not a big deal. This song has one cuss word, so what? This song, talks about some dirty stuff, so what? Or this movie, I probably shouldn't be watching it, so what? Nobody's around. But what you're putting in your mind is what you're putting in your heart. And we're going to read some scriptures that talk about that. If you have your Bible, flip to Proverbs 4. And we're going to read that, and then right after we're going to read Matthew 15. And it's in verse 23. And it says, above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. And then Matthew 15, and we're going to read 19 and 20. If I can find it. Okay, Matthew 15, verse 19 says, for out of the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false testimony, slander. These are what makes a man unclean. So basically, both of these scriptures come back to your heart. It talks about your heart and what you put in your heart. And really, what you put in your heart is going to overflow into your actions. Do you ever feel that? I remember I used to play lacrosse in high school, and I was the captain for 2 years. And before each game, we would listen to this really angry music, this yelling, awful screamo band that I couldn't even understand. I mean, maybe some of you guys that's cool. I'm more of a Justin Bieber girl. I don't know if you've noticed. But this screamo, oh, we're gonna, yeah. And I was like, I don't know what you're saying. It really hurt my ears. But we would listen to it because we wanted to get amped. We wanted to get ready. We wanted to get angry and go play these games. And after I listened to him, I'd come in the car and be like, okay, and we pop a CD, and then afterwards I was like, yeah, let's go. I became the Hulk. It was disgusting. I was like, oh my gosh, and we lost every game. But whatever. But that's who I became. I became this angry person, and it's because I was putting these angry things into my heart, and I didn't even realize it. And that's what happens. Whatever you're entertaining yourself with, you're putting it into your heart, and you're feeding one of the two lists we were talking about. And if you think about these lists, if there were two dogs and you made them fight each other, the one who would win is probably the one you feed the most, right? This big dog against this scrawny, hasn't eaten in 4 days dog. The dog who's been eating the whole time will win. And that's the battle that's going on in your heart, is that one of these two lists is wanting to get fed, and the one that will ultimately win is the one you feed the most. And that has to do with what you're entertaining yourself with, what you're putting into your heart. And it's easy to kind of think this way, oh, it's just a song, oh, it's just, a bad movie, oh, it's just a bad book, it's just whatever. And you really shouldn't be reading it, and you shouldn't be watching it, you shouldn't be listening to it. And the reason why is that it's feeding into one of these two desires, and you're losing this battle for your heart. So it's really important to think about, because I think entertainment has kind of gone all over the place. The radio's pretty sketchy, and now they've started bleeping out words with these random sounds, right? Has anyone heard that? They'll be oh, but wow, and you're like, what? I don't even understand that. And then I'll start singing it with the sound and be a total loser. But anyway, but it's important. It's important for you to take a look at what you're listening to, what you're reading, what you're watching, especially when no one's around, because that's who you really are. And that's who's going to win your heart, whoever you're feeding into. So there's your entertainment room. So now we're going to move into the guest room. And the guest room is where you like totally have all your friends come over and you chill. And I loved high school because my house was like the crash house. Like everyone would come over all the time and be like, I don't know, like every day people would be there. My mom would walk in and be like, hi, who are you? Can you get out of my bed? Yeah, great. But I loved it. I loved having all my friends. I loved my friends. And friends are essential, especially in middle school and high school, because middle school and high school, man, it's rough. Like, I was a total loser in middle school, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I had this weird, like, I didn't brush my hair, and like, the answer was always no to the deodorant question, and like, I was just weird and whatever. You wouldn't have liked me, trust me, it was bad. So middle school was really, really hard for me, and I really wanted a lot of friends. And then I went to high school and had way too many friends. I didn't know who was my true friend, and I just kind of spread myself thin. And I was really, eager for popularity, but was also, a Christian, so it was hard to balance that out. But it was essential. It's essential in this time in your life for you to have friends, especially you seniors, because you are about to move off. You're about to go to college, and it's awesome, and you're going to have a blast, and I'm so excited for you. I love college, but I still have my friends. I still have my friends from high school. I still have my best friends, and it's going to be harder. It's going to be harder now to keep those relationships, but it's important. And I think in middle school and high school, your relationships, your friendships can really be the make it, break it between you and your relationship with God. Because your friends are so influential, and who you keep around is usually who you start to become. Like, have you ever noticed if you start hanging out with someone too much, you start to like act like them? Like you start to throw in their mannerisms, or like the other day I threw in this like lingo that my friend uses that I don't even really understand. I said totes. Like, does anyone know? Like, it's like short for totally, and I think it's ridiculous, but I used it because my best friend uses it. And I was like, oh yeah, totes. It's like, yeah, totes. You're going to start using it. It's cool. You can take it. I'll let you have it. But that's what happens. You start hanging out with these people. You start to kind of catch their lingo. You start to kind of act like them. So it's essential who you spend your time with. Dating, I know there's a lot of pressure in high school to have a boyfriend or to have a girlfriend or whatever. But it's essential that you figure out, is that person going to help you get closer to God or not? Also to know that, you might think, it doesn't matter who I date in high school. Like, it's just high school dating. It's not a big deal. But who you choose to date is really who you set your bar to date. So if you date this guy who doesn't deserve you, you're going to keep dating these guys who don't deserve you. And you really have to start to think like that and think that these people really, really influence you. There's a scripture in 1 Corinthians 15:33, and you've probably all heard it, but it says, bad company corrupts good character. So the company you keep has a very, very big role on your character. It says it corrupts it. It will completely obliterate the goodness in you, the people you keep around. So my question is, envision your guest house or your guest room, put all your friends in there, and let's pretend that Jesus comes. He walks in to chill out with you guys. What would he feel? Would he be like, man, I fit in perfectly with these people? Or would he be really uncomfortable and be like, I don't want to spend any time with these people? Or think about, maybe some of you are thinking right now about some friendships that you're like, man, these are not good for me. Well, think to yourself, is someone thinking that about you? Is someone thinking, man, that girl is not good for me, or that guy is not good for me? You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be the bad company that corrupts good character. And the only way to not become that, and the only way to not have it influence you, is always to put God first. So we're to our last room. So now we've gone through your living room, general consensus of your life, your dining room, feeding into your appetites, entertainment room, what are you watching and listening to, and then your guest room, your friends, the company you keep. So the last room is really, really important, and the last room we're going to take on, I don't know if it's even really a room, but we're going to take on your closet, okay? So whenever my mom told me to clean my room, like in high school or in middle school, I would just kind of take all my garbage and all my junk and shove it in the closet and shut the door, right? Like, does anyone do that anymore? Yeah, it's brilliant, right? Like, I don't know why I figured she'd never look in there, but it worked like 1 out of the like 88 times. But that's what you do. You take all your stuff and you kind of shove it in there, and then your mom comes in to like make sure you clean your room. And I remember I would just sit on my bed and like pour with sweat. Solid bell ring. I'm almost done. But I would sit on my bed and just pour with sweat and be like, oh, don't look in the closet. Please don't look in the closet. Like, oh, all the junk's going to spill out, and you're going to be mad, and you will disown me. Like, there's so much stuff in there. There's, like, old sandwiches. And, like, I told you, I was not cool in high school. Don't judge me. Some of you got sandwiches, and I see you. But that's what I do. And I think this is what we do with God. Is sometimes we can take all of our garbage and all of our junk and we shove it in the closet and we're just like, please don't look in here. And this is the things, that no one else knows about you, the things that really keep you up at night, the things that you regret, the things that kind of make your stomach turn when you think about it, the things that no one else will know, and you shove them in your closet. And let's say Jesus walks in and he's looking at your house, he looks at your guest house, he looks whatever, and then he comes to your closet and you're just sitting there and you're like, please don't open this door, man. You won't even love me anymore. Like, you will be angry. You'll hate this. Like, please, please, please don't open this door. And he opens it and all your stuff fills out, all the stuff that no one else knows about you, all the stuff that, just makes your tummy turn, keeps you up at night, the stuff you regret, the mistakes you've made. He opens it and it all just pours out and you're like, man, there it goes. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm over. And he leans down and he just starts to pick it up. And he starts to clean up all your garbage and all your junk. And that is why you choose God. That's why you choose God over anything else, over the Justin Bieber posters, over the boyfriends you could have, over anything else. You choose God because ultimately he's the only one who can really clean it all up and who can really heal you. So I think, just by being here, just by listening, you've cracked your door, but now you have to decide whether you're going to swing it open or whether you're just going to shut it up again. But I think if you choose to really swing this open, if you choose to make some real convictions, to really, go with this, then God is going to heal you and God is going to clean your stuff and he's going to be worth it in the end.